goes nothing. Hey everyone, this is Cyrus Delgami. Now, you may wonder why I'm addressing you directly. Well, here's the funny story. So there we are, just living our lives, being fictional characters and all. And then all of a sudden, wham! BC got really pissed. She said if there's going to be a Seventh Valkyrie podcast, we should be the stars. Because, we're the main characters, right? So she gets really pissed about Colin stealing our thunder, and she vents to Val about how we ought to do something about it. Val talked to me, said something about how BC wanted to start a podcast, and I was like, great. A little miscommunication, but anyway, one thing led to another, and now we've got Colin tied up in the basement. Val, is he still breathing?
Yeah, last I checked.
I'm just gonna pop in here. Who cares? Motherfucker was using our brand for his shitty podcast. Not gonna fly in my book. BC, I don't know if copyright infringement is necessarily worth a death sentence. Well, it is to me. Take it or leave it, kid. Okay. Welcome to Seventh Valkyrie Live. Hi, I'm Cyrus Delgami, one of the main characters of the Seventh Valkyrie fantasy series. Through a strange twist of fate, myself and the rest of the crew got dropped off on Earth, and we figured that while we're in the business of saving our world, we might as well try and help out here too. So was a podcast the best way to do that? Who knows, but ideas are powerful, and they're all our team's got right now. So without further ado, welcome to Seventh Valkyrie Live. Hello, and welcome back to Seventh Valkyrie Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Delgami, and today I'm joined by two very special guests. First, we have the queen of kicking ass, the elegant enforcer, the woman only known as BC. Hey, Cyrus. And of course, we have the hero of Edera, the Iron Wolf himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Valentin Descartes. I don't think I agreed to have that as my intro. Anyway, onward into our review of the news. Now, we're based out of the Americas at the moment, and it looks like Donald Trump and his administration continue to dominate the headlines. No change there. There's the usual chaos of lies and misleading claims, but recently some recordings have been coming out about some pretty saucy news. Apparently, Trump sat down with Bob Woodward, the reporter who broke Watergate, for like 18 interviews, and there's been a lot of collateral damage. Now, Cyrus, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like, I don't know, sitting down with the guy who shredded Nixon and broke Watergate really isn't the best idea. Yeah, that's a good point, BC. Rumor has it Trump thought he could, quote, charm the guy. Anyway, a lot has come out so far, and there's more to come. Apparently he called soldiers losers and suckers, especially as Russia has been accused of placing bounties on the head of American soldiers. Val, you have any thoughts on that?
My only thoughts on that are, fuck that guy. As a soldier, fuck that draft-dodging, fat fucking prick. God, back in Edera, we'd have a way of dealing with men like that. Sorry, are we allowed to curse here?
I guess, Val. Try to keep it to a minimum. We'll see if we can bleep it out. What am I saying? I mean, discourse has fallen apart in this country anyway. Anyway, in addition, it seems like the big thing is that he totally underplayed the major pandemic, COVID going on, saying literally, quote, I wanted to play it down, despite the fact that he was recorded saying he knew the disease was very, very dangerous. There's been this whole he's been putting out a front pretty much for the past 6 months that this is all going to be fine. He hasn't shut anything down. He's been, just saying, "Oh, it's a hoax. It's not a big deal." And this has just, it's like, and it turns out he knew all along that this thing was real dangerous.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this guy really isn't convincing me.
Yeah, throw in a record 20,000 lies or untruths and counting. He bragged about helping Saudi Arabia murder Khashoggi. And then he's got some petty shit, like he recently blamed California for forest fires despite denying them fire aid and denying climate change. And he's still hosting massive rallies despite the pandemic. Cyrus, just a quick question about this fuck. What's the deal with him, and how the hell is he a president? I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and he looks like a typical BTN. What's a BTN? Big talk, tiny dick, no tip. We get him a lot of velvet. Okay, well, he's certainly a big talker, and he has a penchant and a reputation for skimping on bills, especially with contractors. Actually, in these Collins notes, it does say that there are a few stories about him having a very strange penis that have gotten knocked around by some of his, porn stars, escorts. What's the term? In the business, we call them working girls. Thank you. He has a history of that, along with, Jesus Christ, some much, much harsher allegations. This guy is just surrounded by controversy, which is, we'll touch on him in our later section. I can see you two are chomping at the bit to talk about him, but first, let's finish up the weekly update. We also had some news about the return of sports. BC, I passed you some notes. What? You gave me the sports section? Why do we even have a sports section? Calm down, B. Look, you're our only girl, and the guide to marketing I found says that for a male audience, a pretty female lead is the way to go. What? You're using me as eye candy? I swear to fuck you, little fuck. If you don't give me a better section... BC, wait, stop.
I guess while they resolve their differences, I'll read the rest of the sports. Looks like both types of football are back this week. That could be confusing. One of these sports looks like krashka, lots of kicking the ball around, while the other one is basically an armored blood sport. Wait, Cyrus, I thought there weren't blood sports in this world anymore.
A little busy right now. Ow! Stop!
Whatever. It seems like in both sports you had quite a different response to the racial climate. Across England, there were displays of racial unity and equality for every single game in the Premier League before kickoff. Powerful message. Meanwhile, in America, seems like things have gotten pretty close to rotten. Men from both teams, Chiefs and Texans, linked arms for a moment of silence, meant to protest for racial unity, and God, they got booed. Hell, how blind do you have to be to protest equality? Bastards. It's a shame. In the arena, that's the one place where all men can be truly equal and leave everything settled at the end of a fight. Sucks to see divisions, especially between races, infecting that one sacred ground. Cyrus, you still occupied?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to objectify you. I promise I'll never do it again. Please, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're damn right you won't, you little shit.
Okay, well, while they're still figuring that out, I'll touch on the rest of the notes. Seems like those racial and political divisions are really striking all across the board. There have been shootings at peaceful protesters, riots breaking out at what were supposed to be peaceful protests, the shutting down the post office. Damn, Cyrus, this place seems almost as fucked up as Edera is. I thought Earth was supposed to be a fun world.
Yeah, I think it was. It sure looks like it's not, though. Hope there's something we can do to change that.
BC, you done kicking his ass?
As a matter of fact, I am. Good. Good. Thank you, guys. That brings us to our main discussion for today. So, with all these tensions growing, how does America avoid a civil war?
What kind of government do they have again?
They have a democracy.
Oh, okay. So just vote for change. No one wants a war, right?
Well, it's not that simple, Val. There is a big election coming up. And as we get closer, you can't talk the situation in the world today without talking about the election of Donald Trump in 2016. The U.S. is arguably the most influential power in the world, and at the head of it all is this guy who has been, at best, divisive and incendiary, and if you believe the various allegations, at worst is outright traitorous, a rapist, and responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths.
You think that would make it hard for him to run for re-election, right?
You'd think so, but it seems like there's a history of division in the country. Doesn't seem like it. There flat out is. And there's also quite a lot of money and powerful people working to muddy the waters. Everywhere you look, there's allegations. I do want to emphasize allegations, of course. Not all this has been proven, but there's a lot of smoke about corruption, foreign intervention, packing courts, just a history of disrupting the vote, suppressing voters, long-standing histories of tensions between these races. Not to mention that a big portion of the government as well as the country very strongly support him. It's a complicated situation. Well, Cyrus, people like this happen all the time. If everyone in the country fairly voted, who'd win? If everyone in the country voted, and it was fairly counted, almost undoubtedly the other guy, Biden. Heck, this Trump guy actually lost the overall election last year, but still got to be president. Just, there's a kind of crazy system. It's hard to explain.
Well, it's simple then, isn't it? Throw the other guy out, send him to justice, lock him up, and then reunite the country.
Oh, what? Like Edera so brilliantly did for all the Freelanders after the war?
BC, you're speaking like you're not at least half Ederan, or working for the goddamn...
Okay, both of you guys, let's take a step back. We've got a tiny studio and no money to replace the things that BC hasn't already broken with my face. Now, even if this guy isn't elected, even if Biden's elected, that doesn't solve the problem. We're talking about how to prevent a civil war in the U.S. Leaders are elected because of movements, not the other way around. So, what do you think this guy represents to have such a following like this? Anything?
To his supporters? Hope, freedom, unity, togetherness, a better way of life, at least for the people you love. During the war with the Freelanders, they always got us riled up with our songs and our national pride. I swear, even I could get caught up in that frenzy on occasion, and I was in the freaking trenches. When you're in the thick of it, thinking with your heart emotionally, well, you can't see the problems about the system until they're too late.
That's a really good point, Val. What do you think, BC? Well, from how he presents himself, he's also probably represents an idea of power and decisions and decisiveness, protection. When you're confused or times are uncertain, sometimes someone with a really strong personality, with conviction, can be really reassuring. Speaking from experience, following someone with all your heart, no matter what they believe in, is pretty liberating. It gives you some freedom from consequences. It gives you that goal to chase. It gives you a us versus them, and especially if they give you good news about your bad habits, you can follow them to the end of the earth. I mean, Trump is convincing in his own douchey, lying kind of way. He's a beacon of unyielding certainty in a world that's terrifyingly uncertain to some people. I mean, this guy always thinks he's right. And hell, if I was confused or scared, that's something to hold on to believe in. I, of all people, can't hold that against people.
And, just like in your past, the harsh reality is that you're following someone self-centered, bordering on evil, who doesn't care about you back for the fucking time it would take for him to walk over your corpse. Hey, Val, you want to say that one more time? Trump and the Machine King are nothing alike. You hear me? I mean, at least Krona has a fucking goal and some goddamn class.
Okay, bringing it back to the central issue, guys. How do we avoid civil war? So we understand that there are reasons. There are reasons on both sides. Obviously, this guy is, in our opinions, doesn't seem like the best way forward. But that's, past that, what do Americans do to find unity again in their divided country? Even if the guy's voted out of office, it seems like people are getting increasingly isolated. They're living in basically different realities. How do you reunite that country?
I don't know. It seems to me like we're nearing the point of no return. People who support him are stuck in their little bubble. People who hate him either can't or won't communicate with his supporters. I've seen shit like this end in blood before. I mean, the shooting's already started, hasn't it? We've seen the reports.
But, I mean, that's kind of a bit of a defeatist perspective, isn't it? There's always got to be a better way to... Cyrus, Wolfie might have a point here. If people won't listen to reason and they stop listening to each other, how the fuck do you avoid war? Might have to be time to start getting honest. Come on, guys. First episode and we're already jaded? There's got to be an answer to...
Look, there you go with your optimism, kid. War is war. I know you've never...
All right, hold up a second. You won't even let me finish. Can I finish? God. You've got to believe that people can be better, right? You've got to keep believing that this system, this democratic system and country that they've built, can be fixed. It can work, at least until it doesn't. Sure, we all agree. You vote this guy out. That's just the start, but it doesn't mean it's not worth fighting for afterward. This is still a country that has been a world leader. It's done a lot of good for this planet. There's always something worth fighting for. I mean, hell, you of all people should know that, Val. You should never give up. And I know it's not war here, but if you keep educating people, if you keep pushing for peace, if you keep your hearts open and you try and understand, that's a way forward. That's the only way forward. Otherwise, people will just get more and more divided until we all end up killing each other. And look, I don't think anyone wants that, right? The podcast is about this podcast is about preventing a civil war. Let's at least try and come up with some ideas.
All right, I'm listening.
Okay. Colin, before we tied him up, had a great piece written on his blog about that. It's called "Whoever You Are, Whatever You Believe, I Only Ask That You Care." And I read it right before we started, and I believe it now. No matter what we believe in, no matter what people are, we have to believe that change can be possible, and we have to focus on, it's like everyone's focused against each other. There needs to be something else. Like, let's focus on a space race again. I don't care, but we need to people need to unite.
Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but what about this election? What happens if he rat fucks it or he wins? What happens next? Are people just lost? It's counting a lot on the fact that Biden will get elected.
Val, will the world end? No. But I think it's fundamental that people stand together now. Cyrus is right. This guy, he represents the worst of us. And no matter what you believe, if you want someone to represent the best of us, you have to say no to this guy. I don't care what any of these people actually believe. Hell, I don't even know what I believe. But if you actually believe in a future for this country, people have to take action and vote this guy out. Because, hell, even the conservatives won't get what they want with this guy office. No one will. You know what, BC? People are standing up. People are acting. They're protesting. I believe in that.
But what happens next? But people fall back into their ways. People always cycle back into conflict.
Well, we just need to keep educating and informing and keeping people connected. We need to invest in education and sharing stories and in truly understanding, not just blaming. You know what? Maybe that's how we, you, me, BC, the Seventh Valkyrie team, how we can help save the world in our little way.
What, with a podcast?
Yeah, Cyrus, you're kind of losing me here. Okay, stick with me for a second. Ideas are pretty powerful. Maybe we can offer some perspective, being from a different reality and all that. Now, we were just talking about how people are kind of isolated and, people don't understand each other. Maybe if we can look a little deeper, if we can understand people better, we can get along with them. Look, you and BC are sitting across the same table getting along.
Only in this reality.
You get what I'm saying. Maybe, just maybe, if we can really, really try to understand what's causing these conflicts. I'm not talking about just politics. I'm talking about everything. Maybe if we understand what makes this world bad, what makes it good, maybe we can help.
I'm not great at talking, Cyrus. I much prefer doing.
Yeah, Cyrus, me too. Okay, well, being as we're fictional characters and all, talking might be about all we can do for this world. I know we can, fight crime and, conquer evil in our world, but this one, we're just voices. Any feedback?
Well, fuck it. Might as well. You in BC? I swear, B, I will not be able to handle Cyrus's raw, ruthless optimism by myself.
Fuck, I guess. Besides, actually, I was doing some reading on Cyrus's Vice section. It looks like there's definitely some things worth saving here. Look at this thing. Ayahuasca. Definitely want to try that. And there's this thing called internet porn that I'd sure as hell like. All right, it's settled then. So me, Cyrus, you, Val, and you, BC, plus whoever we drum up, we'll keep an eye on the news, but we'll also try and understand a little better about the things that make this world beautiful and also what make it terrifying. Oh, this is so exciting. We get to be radio personalities. Oh my gosh, we should come up with a theme song and a chant, and I can come up with merch.
All right, kid, you can work on all that fine. Where do we leave off with America? What's our closing point? How do we avoid civil war?
You know what? I'd say caring. I think that's a great starting point. I think this election is important, and everyone needs to show out to reject the worst in us, which is what Trump represents right now. After that, it's not over. The only thing that will heal the country after that is empathy and understanding and moving forward. Maybe another space race. Does that make sense? What do you guys think? I think that I want to punch that guy in the weird mushroom-shaped cock, if that's all right.
Yeah, I agree with BC.
Guys, come on.
But also with you, kid.
All right, I guess that's all I'm going to get. Well, there you go, audience. The American crisis is solved. We need to reject Trump to bring about change, but that's just the beginning of healing. After that, It takes a lot of forgiveness, discussion, and most importantly, understanding. If you can't understand the people on the other side of you, you can't ever come to terms with them. So a simple step followed by a long, complicated road. I think people are up for it. Any closing thoughts? Our elegant enforcer, BC? I can get behind that. Oh, also, we need to legalize drugs. 420! Okay, and from the Iron Wolf.
I hate politics and I hate most politicians. But if we can help people in this process, I'm in.
All right. I guess that's what I'm going to get. Anyway, with all that said, thank you, audience, for joining us. We hope you'll stay with us as we tackle all sorts of issues facing the world. We're not perfect, but hopefully it's one step towards setting this planet together. If you have a problem you'd like us to tackle, you can leave us a message through seventhvalkyrie.com/contact. And if you enjoy this podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share it with friends. Looks like we're out of time for today, but this has been Seventh Valkyrie Live. See you soon!
Hello. This is a note from Kyrie Krona, the Machine King. I wouldn't want you to think I'd missed out on all the fun here on Earth. Like always, nothing happens unless I allow it. You'll be hearing from me, eventually. But for now, I'll allow this fun little experiment to go on. Ciao.